Yo guys, this is Reinhardt and this video is gonna be about the Unholy Pressure Master. So let's get started first of all from the stats and what you need to do for the stats. You need about approximately 3% hit chance, and I'm a little bit over, but I did a few configurations. It's either I'm gonna be under hit chance or I'm gonna be over hit chance a little bit. So I decided to go over because of not potentially losing any damage. Plus, especially over hit chance is actually not bad against the Not Elves and their evasion. But regardless of that, you want to have approximately 3% hit chance and 3% expertise. So that when they combine, they actually produce spell hit chance, because expertise also gives you a hit chance, and that is huge. Now, let's talk a little bit about the gemming. For gemming, you want to gem PvP power and strength / PvP power in red gems and PvP power in the blue gems. For yellow gems, I decided to go with a 60 hybrid, 160 PvP power, 160 resilience. I could have put here PvP power 320, but I decided to go with a hybrid because of one thing. If you think about it this way though, I'm getting 160 resilience plus 60 strength for 160 PvP power, and I think it's a well deserved trade-off, so to say. Now for the secondary stats. So yeah, in that sense, PvP power is more important than strength. But for the stats, what you want to do is you want to forge out of haste and get it into a mastery, or forge out of haste and get it into critical. For the PvE purposes, our critical is #1 stat and then haste. But in PvP, because we are not gonna have 100% uptime on the target, mastery actually takes over by a huge margin. So let's reiterate here really quickly. Mastery crit for the secondary stats, PvP power over PvP strength for gemming, and if you want to fill in the gem slots like I did, go for it. If you want to just go primarily for PvP power, go for it, but keep in mind we're DK, we're sort of squishies, and yes, it's actually gonna be very difficult for us to survive, especially when we're getting focus, so extra resilience actually gonna help you guys out a lot. Now let's talk a little bit about the rotation. The biggest thing that I guess I didn't put in a lot of focus, but I'm gonna put a lot of focus here right now, is one particular thing. Is when you actually gain all your procs, and I'm gonna try to go for the Falling Crusade over here. Then the Blood Boil, and I need that Falling Crusader proc. Come on, there you go. The biggest thing is when you have all your procs, refresh your dots on the target, because this is literally 2 times damage difference, and that is huge, and it should be like that. For example, right now, let's see how much my dots take for. 34k crit, 13, 14k, 16k, 12k baseline when I had all my procs. Now let's get rid of my procs and see how much my dots take right now. So now we have 5k and 7.8k, the double. Difference is double. So with that said, guys, when you're gonna be out there and when you're gonna be DPSing as Unholy DK, the very first thing what you need to do is you need to refresh your dots when you get your procs up. I have engineer, I'm an engineer master, so I have a 2000 strength of my glove. So even then, whenever I get my procs, I even pop my engineering glove and spread the diseases and refresh diseases at the same time. In that sense, I'm using my auto break more as a cooldown in terms of reapplying my diseases instead of just simply using it to apply diseases. So make sure you're using the correct formula for disease damage, and if you will be able to use no frost decay, will match your damage in RBGs. Maybe they can manage your damage in arenas if they're gonna Howling Blast spam, and if they Howling Blast spam, you know what, you're at a huge advantage because they're not gonna be doing a lot of single target damage. Okay, now we got over the dots. Now let's talk about the Necrotics. Necrotics apply the same principle, and when you get all your procs up, pop your activated trinket and stack those necros. My necros right now applying for 56k each, and that is huge. Combined with increased dot duration on the target and a few blood tap procs, you will be able to keep those necrotics. Well, I failed right now because I wasn't DPSing, but you will be able to keep those necrotics on the target, and you will be able to do a massive amount of spread damage and a single target damage at the same time. The biggest thing what a lot of Unholy DKs right now don't realize, how it's important to have your pet, your dots and necrotics on the target. The target will be falling behind on healing very rapidly, and it's not just curse strike damage. It's not going to be your primarily damage, it's going to be your backloaded damage from dots and necros. Lastly, let's talk about the rune usage right now here really quickly. The very first thing is primarily let's talk about the frost and blood runes. The frost rune is obviously gonna be for chain of ice, and the blood runes are gonna be for blood bowl for spread damage. Now, festering strike is also good. It hits, it does a decent amount of damage, and of course it prolongs your diseases and your chain of ice. So the very beginning, what you want to do is you want to pop chain of ice, black strike into a festering strike to increase your chain of ice duration, and not a lot of DKs for some reason doing it at all. So okay, we figured out the festering strike. If you use it to prolong your chain of ice, it's actually gonna save you a rune down the match in the long run. Now, the way it works is that you never ever mindlessly spam your abilities. What you need to do is you need to sometimes sit on your runes a little bit, pop a little bit of offensives, and go full out with the necros. Once you start those necros, make sure you're following up with some blood tap stacks for the further necros, and once you're sitting at roughly about 5 blood tap stacks, make sure you are using that blood tap and you are not wasting it just to apply necrotics, because sometimes you need a blood tap to activate it and refresh necrotics on the target at the same time. Now let's talk about my spec, and this spec is very unique. As you guys can see, yeah, it's all of the ones: Rolling Blood, Lichborn, Death Advance, Death Pact, Blood Tap, and Gorfing Grasp. But first of all, for Unholy, Rolling Blood is the way to go. You do not want a Pestilence when you can Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl gets benefits from our mastery a lot, so it's actually a very viable source to use it to convert our runes into a death runes and the spread damage at the same time. The biggest thing about the Blood Bowl is that even if you're not targeting the target, for example, one sec, let me actually get rid of this blood runes real quickly. Any minute now. Okay, the biggest benefit of a Blood Bowl is that when you're blood boiling and you're not on your target but you have somebody else next to you, you're still gonna convert that blood rune into the death rune like it's happening right now. And that's why I decided to go with the Rolling Blood. It's a good damage. The damage is, oh my god, it's actually like 12k non-crit. It's not bad at all. Lichborn, because there's so much fears and we do need a survivability, we do need some healing, I decided to go with the Lichborn. For FCing Purgatory is probably nice, anti-magic zone, it fits some situations. I like Death Advance. I'm Unholy. Even though I can spread out dots 8 just like Frost Decay can with my Pestilence, I decided to go with Death Advance because I simply hate being snared, even more than snaring the other people. But that's my personal choice. I know Chillbanes and Death Advance can both work really well. Now, the other thing why I decided to go Death Advance as Unholy is because we have speed boost from Unholy Presence, and Death Advance is actually gonna get on top of it and get our run speed up to 126%, which is huge. That's the other reason why Death Advance works a little bit better for Unholy than Frost, because for Frost it's only 110 movement speed, for Unholy it's 126. Now for the survivability, it's Death Pact. It's no brainer, we need that burst survivability when we're getting trained. Blood Tap for Unholy for reasons like I said, spread out damage, really good for stacking necrotics and not letting your necrotics to fall off. And now let's talk about the last talent, which is actual choice. Gorfing Grasp for RBGs, Remorseless Winter for against the melee cliffs in arena, against maybe a stampede when you actually pop it and stun all the stampede pads. It's actually not bad at all. And Desecrated Ground is gonna be for arenas again, but it's actually gonna be amazing talent against the spell cliffs, because when you get defrozen you're praying not to die, and Desecrated Ground will help your prayers like a mofo. Okay, now that is for the talent, and let's talk about glyphs here a little bit. For RBGs I like running this, and for some reason not a lot of DKs using it. They completely forgetting about the Glyph of Iceman Fortune. And in my perception, it's actually a must to have against the Frost Mages, Rogues, Warriors in arenas, or even RPGs, because there's so many stuns going on. And basically what it's gonna Glyph Iceman Fortune do is it's reduces cooldown of Iceman Fortune to minute-and-a-half, but also reduces duration by 75%, so it's gonna last only for 3 seconds. And the damage mitigation, of course, it's kind of a survivability hit, but it's also a survivability buff because you can get out of the stuns more often. Think about this Glyph as an extra trinket against the stuns as a decay. I think it's amazing, you should try it out as well. Now, I like Descent Decay for Unholy because simply if I'm not running Chillbanes, I want that AoE snare, and especially to catch up with the rest of druids, Descent Decay snare is one of the most amazing things to do. Especially if you're training against the rest of druid, let's grip him towards the beginning of a Descent Decay, and he's gonna have to go through Descent Decay itself. Since you have an increased movement speed, you will catch up to him, even if you Death Grip him in a shallow form, and he cannot shapeshift out of the Desecration snare because it's on the ground. And lastly, for RPGs, Pestilence is really nice. I really like Pestilence, I really enjoy it. I sometimes use it in arena because I do want that spread out pressure applied more and more often. Sometimes conversely, this is your Glyph of choice, to be honest. At least that's for me. Sometimes I'm running a Dark Simulacrum, and sometimes I'm running a Death Scroll when I actually need some peeling. And even though the Glyph is not the most amazing thing, it still sometimes helps quite a bit. And Glyph of Shifting Presence is also nice. Unholy Frenzy Glyph here is really good for duels. But basically the last Glyph is your Glyph of choice. I like to sticking a little bit with Glyph of Pestilence. Now a few people ask me if the Glyph of Endurance Affection, what do I think about it? What I think about it is garbage. It's a complete garbage. No way in hell anybody ever would want to sacrifice 30% of your main spec damage just so the disease won't be undispellable, okay? It's not worth it completely, especially because Rolling Blood is just so damn good. And the biggest thing about it is, even though I'm not targeting the diseased target, if I just Pestilence, it will actually convert and go to my diseased target. This is the amazing thing about the Rolling Blood. So even if you're fighting against, for example, Paladin Healers, and for example Paladin Healer and a Hunter, KFC, which is a similar comp, and you spread your Pestilence once, and you're training a Hunter, and Hunter got dispelled on the dots, guess what? Do a Blood Boil, and the dots from, for example, Pet will be transformed back to your original target. And don't even have to worry about it. So sacrificing 30% of your main dot damage is absolutely stupid, and it should not be the case. I wish actually Blizzard would make the Glyph undispellable, period, without sacrificing the damage, because no way in hell any justification for reduced damage will justify actually choosing that Glyph. So that's about it. I hope this official Unholy Pressure Master helped you guys out. I did put some thought into it, and if it helped you out, please give me a thumbs up, because it really helps. It motivates me in doing more videos for you guys. Thank you for watching, everybody, and до свидания, my friends.